City Lights, 1931. Charlie Chaplin's City Lights transcends the boundaries of silent cinema, offering a poignant exploration of human connection in an increasingly impersonal world. Released 4 years after the advent of talkies, Chaplin defiantly clung to pantomime, proving that visual storytelling could evoke laughter and tears with unmatched potency. His iconic tramp, a figure of resilience and whimsy, forms an unlikely bond with a blind flower seller, whose gentle dignity contrasts with the harsh realities of the Depression era. The film's genius lies in its economy of expression. A single close-up of the tramp's wistful smile as he buys a flower speaks volumes about unspoken longing. Chaplin's physical comedy reaches sublime heights in the boxing sequence, where the tramp pirouettes around the ring like a marionette, dodging punches with Chaplin-esque grace. Yet the humor never overshadows the story's emotional core. The tramp's desperate schemes to fund the woman's sight-restoring surgery, including a disastrous stint as a street sweeper and a drunken millionaire's erratic charity. The climax remains one of cinema's most achingly beautiful moments, when the now-sighted flower seller finally recognizes her benefactor through touch. Cheryl's trembling delivery of "you" collapses class divides and societal pretenses. Chaplin's own score, a haunting leitmotif of strings and piano, underscores the film's thesis. True wealth lies in selfless empathy. Critics like James Agee hailed the finale as the greatest single piece of acting ever recorded, a testament to Chaplin's ability to merge slapstick with soul-stirring pathos. Decades later, City Lights endures as a manifesto for humanism. Its silent eloquence bridges linguistic and cultural gaps, reminding audiences that compassion needs no translation. Modern Times, 1936. Chaplin's Modern Times is a biting yet tender satire of industrialization, where humanity battles the dehumanizing gears of progress. Released during the Great Depression's peak, the film channels era-defining anxieties through the tramp's Sisyphean struggles. The opening montage, a flock of sheep dissolving into factory workers, sets the tone for a world where individuals are reduced to cogs, a theme crystallized in the infamous assembly line scene. Here, Chaplin's robotic twitches after tightening bolts all day mirror the soul-crushing monotony of mechanized labor. The film's surreal humor masks profound social critique. When the tramp is literally fed through a malfunctioning feeding machine, Chaplin lampoons corporate efficiency obsessions. His subsequent incarceration, where he accidentally ingests smuggled cocaine and becomes a jailhouse hero, blends absurdity with sly commentary on systemic failures. Yet hope flickers in the tramp's alliance with the gamin, Paulette Goddard, a homeless orphan. Their dream of a cottage with vine-ripe tomatoes symbolizes resilience amid despair. Chaplin's reluctant embrace of sound, limited to mechanical noises and his gibberish song, becomes a metaphor for resisting homogenization. The tramp's final walk into the horizon, arm in arm with the gamine, is both a farewell to the character and a rallying cry for individuality. Jean-Luc Godard later hailed Modern Times as the first and last Marxist comedy, its legacy enduring in critiques of AI-driven workplaces and gig economy exploitation. Bringing Up Baby, 1938. Howard Hawks' Bringing Up Baby is a masterclass in controlled chaos, a screwball comet that reshaped comedy's DNA. Cary Grant's bespectacled paleontologist David Huxley, a man allergic to spontaneity, collides with Katharine Hepburn's free-spirited Susan Vance, whose pet leopard baby becomes a metaphor for unleashed ID. The plot, a Rube Goldberg machine of misunderstandings, includes a missing dinosaur bone, a runaway leopard, and a dog named George who buries evidence in true farcical fashion. Grant and Hepburn's chemistry ignites the screen. His exasperated, "I've gone gay all of a sudden," delivered while swathed in a feather-trimmed robe, epitomizes the film's gender-fluid humor. Hawks's breakneck pacing turns dialogue into a tennis match. Susan's nonsensical explanation of baby's diet, "You put a little meat in the coconut," typifies the script's disdain for logic. Even the mise-en-scène conspires against order. A collapsing brontosaurus skeleton mirrors David's disintegrating dignity. Initially a box office flop, the film's reputation soared as critics recognized its subversive brilliance. Susan's dismantling of David's ivory tower existence via golf course sabotage and jailhouse antics challenges 1930s gender norms, positioning her as a proto-feminist force. The Criterion Collection now hails it as the definitive screwball comedy, its DNA evident in works from What's Up, Doc? To Bridesmaids. Remember the Night, 1939. Preston Sturges's script and Mitchell Leisen's direction coalesce in Remember the Night, a holiday gem that marries social realism with Capra-esque warmth. Barbara Stanwyck's Lee Leander, a hardened shoplifter, and Fred McMurray's John Sargent, an ambivalent prosecutor, embark on a road trip from New York to Indiana that becomes a journey of mutual redemption. The film's power lies in its tonal balance. A courtroom prologue steeped in Depression-era grit gives way to pastoral poetry, as Lee reconnects with her rural roots. The iconic barn dance sequence, where Lee teaches John the Indiana waltz, transforms snowflakes into confetti, their laughter a temporary salve for societal wounds. Even Robison's cow, whose stolen milk becomes a running gag, embodies the script's gentle humanism. Stanwyck delivers career-best vulnerability, particularly when visiting her estranged mother, a scene that channels O'Neill-esque familial tensions. Leisen's decision to cast black actor Fred "Snowflake" Toombs as a sympathetic janitor was progressive for 1939, subtly critiquing racial biases. The bittersweet ending, where Lee surrenders to justice but gains self-respect, avoids saccharine resolutions, opting instead for quiet hope. TCM's Robert Osborne noted how the film makes you believe in second chances, a message echoing through classics like It's a Wonderful Life. In an age of cynicism, Remember the Night remains a luminary of empathy, proving that grace often arrives disguised as happenstance. The Wizard of Oz, 1939. This movie is like a rainbow bursting through a storm. Judy Garland's Dorothy starts in a dusty gray Kansas farm, but a tornado whisks her to Oz, a world where colors pop like candy. Her red shoes, the yellow brick road, and the Emerald City dazzled audiences in 1939, making it one of the first films to use Technicolor magic. Dorothy's journey, meeting a scarecrow wanting brains, a tin man seeking a heart, and a lion chasing courage, teaches us that what we need is already inside us. The Wicked Witch, with her flying monkeys and fiery threats, is the perfect villain, but it's Dorothy's song Over the Rainbow that sticks in your heart. When she clicks her heels and says, "There's no place like home," it's a hug for anyone who's ever felt lost. Kids today still gasp at the flying monkeys, laugh at the lion's antics, and hum the songs. That's why it's timeless. It turns fear into friendship and makes you believe in magic. Gone with the Wind, 1939. Imagine a story as big as the sky, war, love, and survival all wrapped in a sweeping drama. Vivien Leigh's Scarlett O'Hara is no perfect heroine. She's stubborn, selfish, but unstoppable. When her southern world burns during the Civil War, she fights to save her home, Tara, even if it means lying or stealing. Clark Gable's Rhett Butler, with his sly grin and famous line, "Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn," matches her fire. The movie broke barriers. Hattie McDaniel became the first black actor to win an Oscar, playing Mammy, a maid with sharp wit and hidden strength. The scenes are huge. Burning cities, crowded ballrooms, fields of wounded soldiers, but it's Scarlett's grit that hooks you. Sure, it's long, nearly 4 hours, but every minute feels like history alive. Love it or hate it, you can't ignore it. It's a messy, grand tale about losing everything and still standing tall. The Great Dictator, 1940. Charlie Chaplin used laughter as a weapon against Hitler in this daring comedy. He plays two roles, a tyrant named Hinkle, a clownish Hitler parody, and a gentle Jewish barber. Hinkle rants in gibberish, dances with a globe like a balloon, and acts like a toddler with power. Meanwhile, the barber just wants peace. The jokes are silly, slapstick chases, mistaken identities, but the message is serious. Hate is ridiculous. The ending shocks you. Chaplin drops the comedy and speaks straight to the camera, begging for kindness over violence. Made during World War II, it was a brave slap in the face to Nazis. Today, it reminds us that even in darkness, humor can light the way. Chaplin didn't just make people laugh, he made them think. Christmas in Connecticut, 1945. This movie is like a warm cookie fresh from the oven. Barbara Stanwyck plays Elizabeth, a food writer who fibs about being a perfect housewife. When her boss invites a war hero to her dream farm for Christmas, she panics. She can't cook, farm, or even sew. Cue the chaos. A borrowed baby, a fake husband, and a chef who saves the day with pies. Dennis Morgan plays the charming soldier who sees through her lies but falls for her anyway. The laughs come fast. Snowball fights, mistaken identities, a cow that won't moo. But it's the cozy moments, decorating trees, dancing in barns, that melt your heart. It's not about fancy effects or deep messages. It's about messy, real people finding joy together. Perfect for curling up with hot cocoa, it proves that the best holidays aren't perfect. They're filled with love and a little laughter. Miracle on 34th Street, 1947. Miracle on 34th Street is celebrated for its heartwarming performances and timeless message about the magic of belief. Edmund Gwen's portrayal of Kris Kringle, a man who claims to be the real Santa Claus, won him an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor. His gentle demeanor and unwavering conviction make Kris both charming and credible, turning him into a symbol of holiday joy. Maureen O'Hara shines as Doris Walker, a pragmatic single mother who initially dismisses fantasy but gradually rediscovers wonder through Kris's influence. Natalie Wood, in one of her earliest roles, captivates as Susan, Doris's skeptical daughter who learns to embrace imagination. The film's success lies in its blend of humor and sentimentality, using Kris's trial to explore themes of integrity and faith. Its Oscar-winning screenplay and positive critical reception, including praise from the New York Times for its considerable charm, cemented its status as a Christmas classic. In 2005, it was preserved in the National Film Registry for its cultural significance. Fort Apache, 1948. Fort Apache is a landmark Western directed by John Ford, renowned for its exploration of military honor and the myth of the American West. John Wayne delivers a stoic yet compelling performance as Lieutenant Colonel Thursday, a rigid officer whose pride leads to tragedy. His portrayal balances authority with vulnerability, making Thursday's downfall poignant. Henry Fonda, as Captain York, provides a moral counterpoint, embodying quiet dignity and loyalty. The film's ensemble cast, including Shirley Temple in a rare dramatic role, adds depth to the story of soldiers and settlers in the Arizona Territory. While criticized by some for its historical inaccuracies, Fort Apache is praised for its complex characters and Ford's signature sweeping cinematography. It remains a cornerstone of the Cavalry trilogy, along with She Wore a Yellow Ribbon and Rio Grande, influencing generations of Westerns through its blend of action, drama, and social commentary. Rope, 1948. Alfred Hitchcock's Rope stands as a masterclass in suspense and technical innovation. Based on the infamous Leopold Loeb murder case, the film follows two privileged intellectuals, Brandon and Philip, who strangle a former classmate and hide his body in a chest during a dinner party. Hitchcock's audacious use of long takes, crafting the illusion of a single continuous shot, immerses viewers in the claustrophobic apartment, heightening tension as guests unknowingly socialize mere feet from the victim. This technique wasn't mere trickery. It mirrored the unrelenting grip of guilt and the performative facade of the killers who rationalize their crime through warped Nietzschean ideals. The film's brilliance lies in its psychological depth. While the murder occurs off-screen, Hitchcock shifts focus to the killer's unraveling psyches. Sunset Boulevard, 1950. Billy Wilder's Sunset Boulevard is a scathing elegy for Hollywood's silent era, told through the delusions of Norma Desmond, a faded star clinging to her past glory. Gloria Swanson's iconic performance, equal parts tragic and terrifying, anchors this noir-tinged satire, which opens with screenwriter Joe Gillis, William Holden, floating dead in a pool, narrating his own demise. The film's genius lies in its metatextual layers. Swanson herself was a silent film relic, while director Cecil B. DeMille and star Buster Keaton appear as mournful echoes of a bygone industry. Wilder's screenplay razor-sharply dissects Hollywood's cruelty, where fame is fleeting and artistry is devoured by vanity. Norma's mansion, a decaying Gothic relic, mirrors her psyche, a museum of self-obsession, complete with a monkey funeral and a loyal butler, Erich von Stroheim, who fabricates fan letters to sustain her delusions. The film's dialogue drips with irony. "I am big. It's the pictures that got small," underscoring the tragedy of artists discarded by an evolving medium. Sunset Boulevard transcends mere critique, offering a haunting meditation on obsession and identity. Its influence reverberates in films about Hollywood's underbelly, from Mulholland Drive to La La Land. Nominated for 11 Oscars and preserved in the National Film Registry, it remains a timeless warning about the cost of living in the limelight and the darkness that follows when it fades. Alice in Wonderland, 1951. Walt Disney's Alice in Wonderland, 1951, brings Lewis Carroll's whimsical tale to animated life, though it takes some liberties with the source material. The film follows Alice, a young girl bored with her history lesson, who chases a white rabbit and tumbles down a rabbit hole into the nonsensical world of Wonderland. Here she encounters a cast of bizarre characters, including the Mad Hatter, the Cheshire Cat, and the Queen of Hearts. The movie is episodic, stringing together a series of encounters that capture the disorienting and illogical nature of Wonderland. Alice shrinks and grows, attends a mad tea party, and navigates the Queen's chaotic croquet game, struggling to make sense of the madness around her. While the animation allows for the creation of surreal and imaginative visuals, some critics note that the film lacks heart, and that Alice herself remains a passive observer, reacting to the events rather than driving the story. Despite its flaws, Alice in Wonderland explores themes of curiosity, identity, and the struggle to maintain reason in a world turned upside down. Alice's journey can be seen as a metaphor for growing up, as she grapples with illogical situations and attempts to find her place in a world that defies logic. The film's memorable characters and catchy songs have made it a beloved, if imperfect, adaptation of Carroll's classic. Monkey Business, 1952. Imagine a world where growing young is as easy as drinking from the water cooler. That's the zany setup of Monkey Business, a screwball comedy directed by Howard Hawks, starring Cary Grant and Ginger Rogers. Grant plays Dr. Barnaby Fulton, a somewhat absent-minded chemist trying to unlock the secrets of youth for a chemical company. Marilyn Monroe appears as Lois Laurel, the boss's secretary. The fun starts when a lab monkey accidentally mixes chemicals and dumps them into the water cooler, creating a youth elixir. Unaware of this, Doctor. Fulton tests his formula and washes it down with the contaminated water. Suddenly, he acts like a 20-year-old, sporting better eyesight and a juvenile sense of humor. He goes on a spree with Lois Laurel, his boss's secretary, roller skating, diving, and joyriding. When Fulton's wife, Edwina, finds out, she drinks the elixir herself, turning into a prank-pulling schoolgirl. She calls an old flame, leading to more comical complications. The Fultons end up at their honeymoon hotel, and Edwina kicks Barnaby out after an argument. The next morning, they try to destroy the elixir, but accidentally drink more in their coffee. As more and more scientists drink the water, they devolve into childlike behavior. The formula is lost when the last of the water is poured away. In one of the film's more absurd plot lines, Edwina mistakes a baby for Barnaby, thinking he has fully regressed. In the end, Barnaby and Edwina rediscover their youthful spirits and the importance of not taking life too seriously. Monkey Business blends slapstick and sophistication, capturing the humor of the 1950s. Roman Holiday, 1953. Roman Holiday is a heartwarming story about a princess who wants a break from her royal life. Audrey Hepburn, in her first big role, plays Princess Anne, who's tired of her strict schedule. She sneaks away one night in Rome to have some fun. She meets Joe Bradley, an American reporter played by Gregory Peck. Joe doesn't know she's a princess at first, but when he finds out, he sees a chance for a big story. He pretends to be a friendly tourist, and they spend the day seeing the sights of Rome. They ride a Vespa through the city, visit the Colosseum, and even get in trouble with the police. Anne gets a haircut, and they dance on a boat. As they spend time together, Anne and Joe fall in love. But they both know that their time together can't last. Anne has to go back to her royal duties, and Joe is just a regular guy. The film beautifully portrays a fleeting adventure, set against the backdrop of a city bursting with life. In the end, Anne returns to her royal life, but she'll always remember her Roman holiday. Joe also treasures the memories, choosing not to publish the photos of her, respecting their brief but meaningful connection. Roman Holiday won Oscars for Best Actress, Costume Design, and Original Story, solidifying its reputation as a timeless romantic comedy. Rear Window, 1954. Rear Window is a nail-biting movie from Alfred Hitchcock about watching and being watched. James Stewart plays Jeff, a photographer stuck in his apartment with a broken leg. Bored, he starts spying on his neighbors across the courtyard. He sees a dancer, a songwriter, and a jewelry salesman named Thorwald. One night, Jeff hears a scream and sees Thorwald acting suspiciously. Thorwald's wife disappears, and Jeff becomes convinced that Thorwald murdered her. He tells his girlfriend, Lisa, played by Grace Kelly, and his nurse, Stella, and they help him investigate. The movie is filmed mostly from Jeff's point of view, so you feel trapped in the apartment with him. Hitchcock uses the courtyard setting to create suspense, making you wonder what's really going on in those other apartments. Is Jeff just imagining things, or is there really a killer among them? Rear Window is about more than just solving a crime. It's about voyeurism and what happens when we become too obsessed with watching other people's lives. Jeff's voyeurism is a metaphor for the prurient voyeurism of watching movies. The film's innovative use of a single set and its exploration of human curiosity make it a masterpiece of psychological suspense. The Trouble with Harry, 1955. Alfred Hitchcock's The Trouble with Harry stands as a daring departure from the director's signature suspense thrillers, offering a wry, macabre comedy that dissects human foibles with surgical precision. Set against the golden-hued autumnal backdrop of rural Vermont, the film centers on a corpse, Harry Warp, whose sudden appearance disrupts the lives of eccentric villagers. Each character, from the bumbling Captain Wiles, Edmund Gwenn, to the pragmatic artist Sam Marlowe, John Forsythe, grapples with misplaced guilt over Harry's death, weaving a farcical tapestry of misunderstanding and absurdity. Hitchcock's genius lies in his subversion of expectations. While marketed as a murder mystery, the film is a biting satire of 1950s morality, exposing societal repression through deadpan humor. Shirley MacLaine's debut as Harry's young widow, Jennifer, radiates charm and wit, embodying the film's blend of innocence and irreverence. The script's playful dialogue, such as Sam's unabashed request to paint Jennifer nude, pushed boundaries for its era, while Bernard Herrmann's whimsical score contrasts hilariously with the morbid premise. Critics initially dismissed the film for its lack of conventional plot, but its legacy grew as audiences recognized its avant-garde sensibilities. The quirky character dynamics and idyllic yet eerie New England setting later inspired cult classics like Twin Peaks, cementing its status as a precursor to modern dark comedies. Hitchcock's exploration of life's absurdity, framed through the lens of a slightly macabre Hallmark card, reveals a profound truth. Even death can't stifle the human capacity for love, laughter, and redemption. Forbidden Planet, 1956. A cornerstone of science fiction cinema, Forbidden Planet redefined the genre with its ambitious blend of Shakespearean drama and atomic age anxiety. Directed by Fred M. Wilcox, the film transports viewers to Altair Fur, a distant world where the remnants of the advanced Krell civilization hide a terrifying secret. The story mirrors The Tempest, with Walter Pidgeon's Dr. Morbius as a modern Prospero, his daughter Altera, Anne Francis as Miranda, and Robbie the Robot as an Ariel-like servant. The film's revolutionary special effects and electronic score by Bebe and Louis Barron created an otherworldly atmosphere, while its exploration of the monster from the id, a manifestation of humanity's primal urges, served as a chilling metaphor for nuclear proliferation and unchecked technological power. 34. Leslie Nielsen's stoic Commander Adams anchors the narrative, juxtaposing Cold War-era rationality against the Krell's hubristic downfall. Forbidden Planet's influence permeates pop culture, from Star Trek to Interstellar. Robbie the Robot became an icon, embodying both the promise and peril of artificial intelligence. The film's warning about humanity's readiness for limitless power remains eerily relevant, solidifying its place as a visionary work that dared to ask, what happens when progress outpaces wisdom? North by Northwest, 1959. Alfred Hitchcock's North by Northwest is a masterclass in suspense, blending espionage, romance, and mistaken identity into a quintessential Cold War thriller. Cary Grant stars as Roger Thornhill, an ad man thrust into a Kafkaesque nightmare after being mistaken for a government agent. The film's iconic set pieces, including the crop duster ambush and Mount Rushmore climax, showcase Hitchcock's unparalleled ability to fuse tension with visual grandeur. Eva Marie Saint's enigmatic Eve Kendall and James Mason's suave villain Philip Van Dam elevate the cat-and-mouse narrative, while Ernest Lehman's razor-sharp script balances wit with existential dread. The film's exploration of identity and deception resonates in an era of political paranoia, cementing its status as a timeless adventure. Psycho, 1960. Hitchcock's Psycho revolutionized horror with its psychological depth and technical audacity. Anthony Perkins's Norman Bates remains cinema's most chilling portrayal of duality, his boyish charm masking a fractured psyche. The infamous shower scene, a symphony of editing by Saul Bass and Bernard Herrmann's Screeching Strings, redefined on-screen violence, proving terror lies in suggestion rather than spectacle. Janet Leigh's doomed Marion Crane anchors the first act, her theft setting in motion a narrative rug pull that challenges audience sympathies. Hitchcock's use of voyeurism and shadowy cinematography immerses viewers in Norman's twisted reality, while the film's final revelation, a mother preserved in both body and mind, unlocks a haunting commentary on guilt and obsession. A cultural touchstone, Psycho remains the blueprint for psychological horror.